Hello and welcome back to Factolas. My name is Shibu and this is the penultimate review of Shaka Ilembe. It's the review of season 2, episode 11. Let's jump straight into it. After the devastating loss suffered by the Nwande in the Gokli Hill battle, they have now become desperate to win this war against Shaga. First, we have Queen Mother Ntombazi who revisits the Dark One to get help to crush and get rid of Shaga. But when things don't go her way, she decides to take matters into her own hands. Then we have Zwide, whose grief morphs into something darker and oppressive when he holds his brother Goloza captive and threatens to kill his children if Goloza does not tell him about his visions. Zwide is so desperate to win this war against Shaga that he's inadvertently creating a blind spot with Goloza, who will eventually have to resort to lying and telling Zwide only what he wants to hear in order to save the lives of his children. This can only spell doom for the Nwande people. On the other hand, while some are desperately trying to find ways to win this war, others have lost hope entirely. In an unexpected turn of events, Noluju decides to work with the Zulu allies to crush the Nwande from within. Remember that Noluju is a Ndwande's spy. He's kind of like the CIA of Ekutunkomo, whose job it is to collect intelligence to help strengthen the kingdom. The same goes for Nongila, who is a Zulu spy. Anyway, with Noluju turning on his people and giving them false information about the strength of the Zulu army, this further seals the fate of the Nwande people in the upcoming Zulu-Ndwandwe war. In all of this, I'm left wondering when exactly was the moment that Zwide, Ntombazi and the Ndwandwe people lost faith in their military strength. Because it seems like all that they rely on nowadays is bewitching their enemies and visions from Goloza. The Ndwandwe army has been described as powerful, more powerful than any enemy that they face. The warriors are known to be strong and violent. Noluju even says that Ekutunkomo will always be a military powerhouse and that it continues to grow. The same person saying this is the same one that gives up faith in the Ndwandwe army. And I don't blame Noluju because he knows that the Ndwandwe will not be able to win this war against the actual military powerhouse of the Zulu led by King Shaga. Which leads me to the next discussion. After successfully getting rid of Umondisa, Mlandela is appointed as the new Mtetwa king, and the Mtetwa people agree to join forces with Shaga by becoming Zulu allies. Shaga also manages to secure the Kwabe army after Pagatwayo is defeated and killed by Shaga in a male appendage measuring contest. A stick fight. Also, what are MacG and Robot Boy doing in Mtandeni? Anyway, in this episode, we see Shaga growing the Zulu kingdom and getting closer to realizing his vision and fulfilling the prophecy of uniting the Nguni nations into one. Mkabayi says that securing the Kwabe and Tetwa allegiance made Shaga's army grow bigger than Zwide's, and that Shaga wanted to completely destroy the Ndwandwe. With all that's happened so far, this seems like a very real possibility. But with only one episode left of season 2, I wonder if we'll get to see this war in episode 12 or if we'll have to wait for it in season 3. The last thing I want to discuss from this episode is the sad news of Liana's passing due to the abortion muti that she drank. When Shaga receives the news of Liana's passing, something very interesting happens next. Shaga starts to mirror the same descent into tyranny that we saw with Zwide. Both Shaga and Zwide are consumed by grief, which leads them to respond in an oppressive manner as they grapple with their respective situations. In Shaga's case, he summons the healer that gave Liana the muti, and although the healer tried to explain the known risks of taking abortion muti, she is dismissed by Shaga and is labeled as a fraud. Shaga then stabs the healer and orders that she be taken outside to bleed to death as a warning to any other false healers. The only outcome of this is that healers will refuse to help people in fear that they might die if something goes wrong, which is likely to happen because medicine is not an exact science. Just like in Zwide's case, Shaga is inadvertently creating an environment that can only breed disaster for his people. What's even more concerning is that, like Ntombazi, Queen Mother Nandi is doing nothing about her son's behavior. It was very interesting to see this parallel between Shaga and Zwide, which highlighted that they're actually not that different. They are much more similar to each other than I thought. I think the writers did this to foreshadow how Shaga's regime will be run. By linking Shaga to Zwide, they're showing us that Shaga will similarly be cruel and ruthless, as we've seen with how Zwide handled the Kumalos, for example. To close off this review, episode 11 was another good episode, but the gaps in the storyline are now becoming difficult to ignore. The cracks are starting to show. Why are we only finding out now, 11 episodes into season 2, that Goloza has children? You're telling me that they couldn't have shown us one scene of Goloza and his children sometime earlier when everybody was still happy in Ekutunkomo? Around episode 2 maybe? I'm starting to think that giving Goloza children was a last-minute attempt to add more tension to Goloza's capture. Knowing that Goloza has children also makes his decision to betray Zwite so confusing. Did Goloza really think that Zwite would let his children live after Goloza had a hand in Zwite's children dying? I also spotted a complete lie in the storyline. When Ntombazi visits the Dark One, she is told that the reason that her grandsons died in battle is because she failed to bring the Dark One the blood of a royal child in exchange for making it rain in Ekutunkom. If you can remember back in season 1, the Nwande was suffering from a drought, so Ntombazi went to the Dark One to help her bring rain to Ekutunkom. But nowhere in the conversation was the blood of a royal child mentioned. The Dark One only asked that a sacrifice be made. And guess what? There was a sacrifice in the form of a child being eaten by Ntombazi's hyenas. So all this time, I thought the bill was settled. Why are the writers making things up and outright lying? Did they think we wouldn't notice? They are creating a disjointed storyline, which is frustrating. They need to do a better job of tying up the loose ends. The other thing, which we've already touched on, is that Noluju describes the Nwande as a military powerhouse. But all the battles we've seen them fighting in, they've lost. First against the Zulus in season 1 with the help of the Mtetwas, and second in the Kokli Hill battle, and we all know how that one turned out. Besides that small conquest of the Tonga kingdom, there is no evidence to support this claim that the Nwande are a military powerhouse. The writers and producers really needed to put in more effort to communicate this because it's just not landing effectively. Then there was that weird exchange between Ntombazana and Soshangane. What was that all about? The gaps and cracks in the storylines are taking away negatively from the overall story, which is such a shame because the story and production has been great so far. The unnecessary confusion created by these gaps and cracks is doing the story a disservice. I think I'll leave it there for the review of episode 11. Join me next week in the review of the final episode of season 2. I can't wait. I'll see you then. Bye. Mansui anochwa fela. Are they making sense? Probably not. Let me try again. Are we an item? Girl, quit playing. We just friends. What are you saying? Wait, what? English is chasing me, but I am faster. Drank. Power up, drank. Hey, shot, drank. Why today? I think it's because I don't know what to do with my hands. Got jazz hands right now. I don't know where to put them. Yeah, like Jew. This is gonna be such a horrible video. Like, yo, stand up, drank. Sit down, drank. Atrocious. Atrocity. And it's okay. Hey, it's okay. It's alright if it's horrible. I love that. I'm only doing one take of that. Yeah, come on. Baby, drag.